Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Haggard from the Haggard Law Firm, and I'm here with Gulliver Prep head football coach Earl Sims. We're here today to represent Deshaun Perry's family in front of all of you. We're here to tell Deshaun's story as best we can as the family is up in Charlottesville and about to bring their boy home to Miami. The family will be available to the media when the time is right in a couple of weeks as they get through this initial grieving process and have services for Deshaun. I've met many of you over the years talking about the Parkland mass shooting where I represented several families. When King Carter, a 6-year-old Liberty City young boy, was gunned down in his apartment complex. Many years ago, representing Edwin Patta's family, a University of Miami senior football player who was about to graduate and go in the NFL draft when he was shot and killed. And unfortunately, I've represented hundreds of gun violence victims, and we're here again today. This is different for me. I did not know Joaquin Oliver. I did not know Scott Beagle. I did not know King Carter or Edwin Patta before their lives were senselessly taken by gun violence. I knew Deshaun Perry. I knew Deshaun for several years. I've known his mom, Happy, for several years, his father, Sean, because my son played high school football with Deshaun and for Coach Sims at Gulliver High School. My daughter, my son, and thousands of other kids across the country, from Gulliver, from Richmond Heights, from the University of Virginia, are mourning this loss of this tremendous light in our lives, which was Deshaun. I know you have seen this in South Florida, the tremendous impact that Deshaun Perry had on everyone throughout his childhood, throughout his incredible time at Gulliver Prep, and then what he has done at the University of Virginia in all aspects. When anyone met Deshaun, the first thing they would see is this gentle giant with this humility, this absolute humility for an incredible athlete, an incredible student, his kindness, his incredible character, and his uncanny sense of humor. But the first thing, as you see in this picture, that everyone noticed about Deshaun Perry was his unbelievable smile. His impact to people that were young, kids that looked up to him, older people that will only tell you whenever they talk to him, they heard two things: yes, sir, yes, ma'am. He impacted everyone, whether you're black, white, rich, poor, throughout South Florida, and obviously up in Charlottesville. Deshaun Perry is the American dream. He's a Miami story from Richmond Heights. His mom was a U.S. postal worker. His dad worked in corrections. He was an incredible brother to Dominique and Deshandra, his two sisters. And this kid grew up in our community. He played football, youth football at Sunnyland Park for the Richmond Giants, for the Palmetto Bay Broncos. He went to Gulliver and was not only a star athlete in football and basketball, but just an incredible student in all activities and obviously academics. Received a full scholarship to one of the top universities in the United States of America, the University of Virginia. You know, he's sitting there ready to graduate in the spring from UVA to get a master's degree in the arts, his passion for the arts. He had 2 years of football eligibility left to also continue to pursue his dream of going to the NFL. Played an incredibly tough football game in the ACC on Saturday. On his one day off, on Sunday, one day off that a major college football player gets, the day of rest, he goes on a field trip in his class to go watch the Emmett Till play in Washington, D.C. That's the type of student he was. Instead of blowing it off and saying, I got to rest, I'm exhausted, that's what he did. And on the bus ride back, as we all know, his life was senselessly taken in another incident of gun violence. When is enough going to be enough in this country? We lose 40,000 people a year to gun violence in this country. Deshaun Perry had made it. He had made it. He was at one of the greatest schools in the country, going to class as a great student athlete. And this is how the story ends. When the Perrys are ready to talk, they're going to talk to you about the issues of gun violence and how now it is hit so close to home for them, for Coach Sims and I, for this Miami community yet again, and across this country. This day is about Deshaun and talking about Deshaun and honoring him. It's always going to be about Lavelle Davis, Devin Chandler, who lost their lives, Mike Hollins, who's still struggling, and Marley Morgan, who was also shot in this senseless incident. I will tell you that the Perry family extends their incredible gratitude to the South Florida community, the Gulliver community, the Charlottesville community, the UVA community for their support. They also ask that everyone be there for them when they begin their journey as yet another family that has been impacted by gun violence. I'd like to turn it over now to Coach Earl Sims, who not only is Deshaun's coach, but his mentor and really his second father. So Coach Sims.
Thank you. First, I'd like to acknowledge the other two men, Lavelle Davis Jr. and Devin Chandler, and their families and communities mourning this senseless loss of life. Our South Florida, Richmond Heights, University of Virginia, and Gulliver communities all stand with the Perry family and express our sincere, heartfelt sympathies as we all mourn the loss of Deshaun Perry. Deshaun was a beautiful soul, whom I, among many, had the privilege of meeting. If you look at his picture, and if you just came in contact with him, his smile would light up a room. I echo the sentiments of several of my colleagues when I say that Deshaun was a delightful, respectful, hardworking person who was one of the best overall young men our communities had to offer. Sure, he was an athletic, three-sport athlete with a high motor and a fierce competitive nature, but he was also, to his core, kind, thoughtful, and caring. Deshaun believed in God and had a strong faith. Some words from his fellow teammates from last night's Zoom call was, Deshaun loved people, he loved me. Deshaun helped people and showed us the way we should live our lives. Everyone on that call was grateful for his brotherhood. The last thing that I would say is he was like a son to me. He was a gentle giant who added value and purpose to my life as well as others. He'll truly be missed, but we'll make sure that his legacy lives on. There has been a huge outpour of support from each of the communities Deshaun positively impacted. And I ask that we all keep it up in the coming weeks because the family's going to need it. And that we please continue to keep all the families of the victims in our prayers. Before I step away from this podium, there are two things I have to read. And they are things that Deshaun created in the form of English assignments. The first one is titled Bigger Than Me. I chose Bigger Than Me by Big Sean to represent my junior year because I had an epiphany. I had an epiphany that when we were in football practice and we were practicing with the teams from the middle school, One kid came up to me and said, "I want to become just like you when I go to high school." I realized that it's not just about me in the sense of what I want to do, but the people that helped me get to where I am right now, and those ones who look up to me to this day. I know my parents have done all they could to get me into this school and give me everything that I have today. So in return, whatever I do in the future, I will make sure that whoever has helped me become successful will receive something in return. All I want to do is make my family and the city I'm from proud. And then one more piece. This was an assignment Deshaun completed about underdogs. This was his introduction, and it's a testament of how he lived his life. Imagine a situation where no one believed in you. Imagine every odd stacked against you, and it looks like you will never get the job done. Critics telling you that you are nothing and you will never win anything. This is what being an underdog feels like. I've been in many situations where I or the team I was playing on were considered underdogs. But even though there was the hate and adversity, we turned it into motivation and overcame those odds. Many people didn't believe in our team. People called us too small or a team without much talent. Many didn't believe what we could do, but we proved them wrong anyway. My favorite example of being an underdog and proving everyone wrong would be my first homecoming game of my high school football career, one that I won't forget as long as I live. Thank you.
Questions? For the coach, you said he was like a son to you. Do you have a specific memory or any details on why he was like a son to you? What made him so successful?
I saw Deshaun every day because we traveled together to school. There's nothing that he wouldn't do if asked. I remember specifically asking him to go down to the middle school with me and just, help to inspire the young ones who look up to him to continue playing in high school. And he did without a doubt. He was always giving of himself. As a matter of fact, I also remember different community service events where we partnered with the Dolphins and we helped to create food baskets and a food giveaway, something that, he didn't have to do, it wasn't required. Same thing with the Cancer Challenge and same thing with many other events. But he always wanted to give, and that's what he lived for. And I think that's how he left, still giving.
Yeah, like when you're speaking to his family, exactly what are they saying to you? What are they feeling right now? Obviously, this is such a difficult time for them, but exactly what are they saying to you?
You're talking about two parents who put everything into their children, everything, their goal, their hopes, their dreams, and to see him succeed. And again, Coach Sims and I were talking about it's not about football. That was just part of it. To become the type of kid he was that always looked to give back at 18, 19, 20 years old, to already be thinking in your mindset, and to lose all of that as a parent, when your dream comes true, and then have it end like this. So they are in a deep moment of despair. They got to see him yesterday, which was extremely awful for them. The support up there is incredible. The vigil that they had at UVA, and now they just want to get him home and try to go on. I would say every day by day, but I think it's more hour by hour, and get him home and continue, like Coach said, to honor him the rest of our lives.
Do you ever think that the family black are actually working with those parents and the family members of the Parkland murdered on issues of gun violence? Would that be part of his legacy now?
Well, I think the first thing that his mother Happy said to me is, I want to be part of this solution. We have to stop this. I could tell you, I mean, Manny Oliver, Patricia Oliver, Linda Beagle, and Michael Schulman, the parents of Scott and Joaquin, were some of the first people that reached out to me. I mean, the hope I have for Happy and Sean is I've seen the incredible power of these parental victims before. I don't understand it. I think that they have some type of super strength. I truly, as a parent, cannot understand it. But Happy and Sean want to be involved in this. They know it's going to happen again. The worst part of this is that everybody in this room, everybody watching this news conference knows there's going to be another mass shooting in the United States, if not today, tomorrow. We all know that. And as a society, we have to do something. And this family is committed to doing that. And when they come home and get through the next weeks, I think they'll be incredible advocates, like unfortunately those before them.
Have officials in Virginia spoken to the family of why this happened? I mean,
Yeah.
was there any dialogue as far as the intervention? I mean,
As we all know, the investigation is ongoing, both in the criminal aspect and others. So most of the talks between the families has been about, getting Deshaun home and dealing with those logistics, and obviously we'll be involved in the investigation.
Because there's some similarities between Parkland and this in terms of this moment, right? The shooter was in.
Yeah, I think today is obviously about Deshaun, and the investigation's ongoing, but we'll certainly talk about that at some point.
Sorry for a question out of you saying, as we try to get a little bit more of the parents and understanding, sounds like from you, that their focus is really going to be on gun violence. That's going to be their message here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we know when he's coming back home? This one?
We're hoping today, but it'll be today or tomorrow.
Any other questions? I guess kind of, Coach, when I was at Dover on Monday, I did have a chance to speak to, on the side, some teachers who knew him. It really seems like the entire campus was absolutely devastated, but that was my impression. Are you able to help us understand the impact on the campus right now?
So it took a while for me to even be able to return back to my position as a teacher and coach. I just returned to the school today. But the amount of devastation cannot be described, because every moment is dedicated to just thinking about the inconceivable happening. Deshaun was a beautiful flower in our garden at Gulliver. And when he got transplanted to his next school, we knew he was going to continue to grow. But, God picked that flower.
Coach, when you saw the news and you knew what happened, how long did that
I was praying that his life would be spared. But when I found out that he had passed, I was shaken to the core. I have a strong faith as well, but I was shaken so much that I couldn't feel the feet under me. And I went and, to be with the parents. And that was tough, because the amount of grief we all felt is because we knew the promise he had. And because it's like extracting life or extracting a huge tree out of the ground, certainly leaving a big hole. still feel that every day. I thought initially that being alone would help me to process everything, but then I realized I needed to be around everybody who loved him and the people I love too.
Any other questions?
Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.